Hello, everybody, and welcome to tonight's coverage of the inaugural season of the NASCAR Class C Maconi Setup Shop Fix Series, the first of many for this recently rebranded series. This evening, we're excited to be bringing you tough split action for the weekly Strength of Field race from iRacing's virtual Pocono Raceway here in Pocono, Pennsylvania. Maconi Entertainment's here to bring you all the action for all types of racing, including the weekly Fast Friday series. No matter what you are racing, we can bring the action to life. My name is Justin Prince. Alongside me is David Kreutz, with Eddie Smith working at the controls as our producer, using cameras provided by the great Dougie Beard. David, today we're at Pocono, a track that has 3 different types of turns based on 3 different types of facilities. But in turn, a very unique track to be able to drive because not one turn is the same on how you approach it. What should we expect for drivers here in Pennsylvania?
After a few shorter tracks, we're back to the big ones, and this time it is no road course. We're here in Long Pond, Pennsylvania, the 2.5-mile circuit, 3 different turns, not 4. It's not the usual oval. We can expect the unexpected. Every turn is different, and every turn is iconic in that way. Turn 1, the most banking at 14 degrees. Turn 2, the tunnel turn. They glide right above the tunnel on the campus here at Pocono Raceway, 8 degrees there. And the final turn, the flattest of which, 6 degrees. You got to really work your way in there with the momentum you have. 25 laps here tonight, not a lot of time. High-speed circuit. Expect to see more aggression, maybe less give, and a lot more take as we get to the racing very soon. Qualifying is just concluded. I think we've got ourselves a great starting grid to go over.
Very quickly getting our way through tonight's action. As we get set for tonight's racing, let's take a look at how we'll start tonight from Pocono. Connor Yaroshak, who has been a major strong force this season in C-Fixed, he's up on the pole alongside Kenny Brady. Alex Weaver starts row 2 alongside series regular Ryan Andrew. Jacob Snyder, one of the top drivers in the points this season, starts off in the top 5 with Luke Knupp, driver known for his pro truck endeavors, up in 6th. Sean Abbey starts alongside Ryan Joyner with Adam Wright and Peyton Howell, your top 10. Cole Palkin starts off at 11 tonight. Maximilian Bianco up in 12th. Lincoln Bond back in 13th with Jared Nelson deep in the back half of the field in 14th. John Ellis Jr. starts 15th alongside Brandon Evans. Joey Misevich, very rough in qualifying, back in 17th with Kendall Carter for the 5 truck in 18th. Tyler Merritt starts 19th, the last driver on time, a shocker. Jake Sylvia, known for his speed on short tracks, in 20th. Andrew Lutz, Brandon Shaperko, along with Ross Phillips and Christopher Stange, did not set times here today. As we get all prepared for tonight's action, as these drivers get themselves ready to roll, let's talk a bit about the point standings entering tonight. We talked about how tight the battle was last time out. It got even tighter after last week's races. 5 weeks counted, Jacob Snyder leads the way in the points, just 3 up entering the week, and this continues to shuffle. This started off the week, mind you, for the overall standings, with Andrew B4 with the advantage until the last race just ran. That's what swapped it right there, entering tonight. Kuntz was amongst those, though, with the same point total entering this race. Then Cordell and Rowley amongst those who have done well as well throughout this season. We'll keep an eye on how these drivers fare out tonight. Already one driver up into the wall. That's Ross Phillips, who's just hit the wall before we even get going.
And we've got ourselves trouble already. Ross Phillips going to be there right by the pit wall. Not sure why that's the case. Maybe going to be trying to go to the back intentionally, but nevertheless, the Ross Phillips machine already grinding against the wall, waiting to get this thing on his way. Looks like he's a bit impatient as the drivers begin to get off of pit road. Your defending winner, Connor Yaroshak, right there ahead of everyone. The pink machine back on top. This time he's second in terms of iRating.
As drivers get situated, let's talk about tonight's race details and race analysis brought to you by Maconi Setup Shop. As we get ready for 25 laps, as mentioned, fixed setups in this series after 2 laps of qualifying. 1 green-white checkered is available for drivers to consider when it comes to Pocono. Also of mention, when it comes to tire sets, just 2 in the pits in case of caution flags. But with track positions being so critical here, what's it going to take to win at Pocono?
It's going to take keeping that momentum up. That's what won the race at New Hampshire. We saw a crossover move made at the last second between Peyton Howell and Connor Euroshak. Euroshak saw it all coming, was able to put the power back down and go from there. We'll expect that, but expect that for 25 laps worth. Speed is a big thing. If you can keep that speed, you're absolutely going to be able to keep that track position. In certain situations, you could see yourself, of course, as a driver, having to worry more about the tires and drivers around you. Here, you gotta race yourself the right way. 3 turns, it's all different. Keep that focus, keep that mental fortitude, and when you come around that 3rd turn for the final time, you might just be a winner. Long Pond Raceway, it's Pocono. Let's get the tricky triangle rolling, this time through the green flags out for 25 laps of racing up in the Northeast once more.
Already 3 and 4 wide heading off to the first corner. Euroshak getting some bump drafts from Alex Weaver. Off to the lift point for the first time. Do we get cleanly through to start off? No! A drift up in the corner. That was a huge bobble from Sean Abbey. Everyone avoids contact though.
And it's a nice bobble to keep it straight at the very least as they go 4 wide for just a moment. It's going to be a huge loss for the number 84 machine on your frame, but nevertheless, the leaders stay in the same positions. It's Euroshak leading the way. Kenny Brady not too far behind, and Alex Weaver going to see that it's going to be Ryan Andrew who weaves to the bottom and loses a lot of momentum. That's exactly what I mentioned. He loses so much time there, he almost loses himself a chance to race for lead. He's still in front of a multi-lane battle, 2 wide, 3, 4, 5, 6 rows deep. They're getting to be side by side all throughout. Your top 3 remain the same, and they'll remain safe. Connor Euroshak takes him through for lap number 2.
Still keeping now 3 wide. That's Jacob Snyder, as mentioned. After the last race of the week, 14 starts for him this season. Trying to shuffle. Keep an eye on the one of Brady. And some bobbles on behind. Ryan Joyner, caution flag is out. They wreck down in through the lawn chute.
And we've got ourselves a big mess. Ryan Joyner going to go for a wild ride. The Hendrick Cars machine makes contact there, gets spun. Multiple other cars and trucks, my apologies there, they make more contact. Looks like most drivers able to make it out, but it's a huge hit to start this one. Ryan Joyner gets the worst of it as we see the Maconi Setup Shop instant replay here at Maconi Entertainment. We're watching alongside here. Ryan Joyner going to get a tap, a spin, and there's a smoke show there, able to get it straight, but it's a huge mess as they come off of turn 1.
That really stacked things up in turn. Peyton Howell amongst those having a dodge. Under caution already. This is a very lengthy track when it comes to yellow flags because of the distance. It's also a track where you definitely don't want to pick up damage, we've seen over the years. The tough thing about the whole situation of the racing, though, is you barely have to lift around the track, and that almost cascades into this.
And that's the big problem when it comes to Pocono. Aerodynamics are a big part of keeping that speed and keeping that performance. Any damage could jeopardize a chance to run with that big pack. We saw outside of our top 3 guys, everyone was bunched up, and that's what led to that first incident. Only 2 laps in, we were green flag racing for 2 laps. Now at lap 3, maybe it's time to sort of slide back throughout the field, let these guys take control for you, and maybe we'll see less aggression as a result, using the packs to stay in winning contention and waiting for those last few moments to make a big difference. But I'd say the problem is your biggest and best contenders are ahead right now. Connor Euroshak, Kenny Brady, they're first and second in both position and in iRating. They are expected by iRacing to be the top contenders in this split tonight, and for good reason. They're up front now, up front in qualifying, and they're hoping to stay that way as we go through. We're here, we have another angle from that incident. Justin, can you walk us through it?
Yeah, let's take a look at the replay, in fact, right now. And again, Joyner was not happy with the radio. You see the little bit of contact, almost saved it, but couldn't hold on as he got a little bit of assistance from the back grouping. Joyner now dead last on the racetrack as a result of the spin around and the contact. Of note, pit lane is open this time by Wright, Ellis Jr., Hawken, Masevich, Phillips, and several others electing to get damage repair already early in this race, and Dora take a little bit of service and drop to the back of the pack with how things play out. About a third of the field here.
And the guys in the back of the field know there's no reason not to come in given the track position already lost. If you got damage, it's better to fix it and start this restart in the back and try to work your way up than work with a damaged car in the middle of the field. That could end up with a much worse result, seeing more trucks damaged. You want to make sure that you're 100% clear when it comes to your damage or close to it if you want to compete up in front. Good to see responsible choices being made on pit road as the drivers get back to the front of the field. We've got about 15 or so that didn't go down to pit road, and it looks like more are getting out. John Ellis just got on his way, and now the field getting back together as we've only got ourselves just over a lap and a half till the racing gets back on the way.
Taking a look at the weather conditions, we haven't talked too much about this yet. Very hot is the track right now, 113 degrees Fahrenheit. Default wind at 2 miles an hour to the north. That's currently gusting towards the front stretch grandstands. 78 degrees the air temp. Not too big on the air temp. Everyone has the same tape. The track temp, though, can really play into some of the slides we've already seen.
And track temperature influences a big part of strategy. That part, of course, being the tires. If you warm up your tires, you're going to see a loss of grip, and you might have to fight the truck a bit harder when you're trying to push your way through to the front of the field. That's why guys in the back went down to pit road, sacrifice track position, get a bit more grip, less warmth in those Goodyear tires. Maybe your Eagles can fly a bit further and a bit quicker if you got less warmth in them. Maybe that's going to be a bit of an advantage if we go green all the way. The gambles are already being made in strategy as we have one lap until the green flag goes back into effect. Lap 5 now. We'll be looking at lap 6 when we get back to the racing. 20-lap dash if we go all the way.
That's always a tough given, though, at Pocono. It's important to mention, too, with drivers who pick up the repairs here. With the new damage model, got the chance to, full disclosure, had my computer explode. Now it's good to go. It really is not just the damage when you think about it that you have to think about. If you have any damage to the front end, you're talking about the splitter digging into the racetrack. At a track like New Hampshire, that was a major problem for anybody with any sort of damage. That's a major thing too, not just speed, but also the ride conditioning, where if you don't fix the car, or truck in this case, you might not have a good driving experience on the corner handling.
That's for certain. Anything about damage will lead to a major effect, especially now. iRacing reworking their damage model for these trucks, attention to detail and realism. And for some drivers, in some cases, that's not necessarily a good thing. You can't get away with what you used to be able to do before. Now you're going to have to face the consequences as they come. For Connor Euroshak, he's not faced any consequences. He's ran very good in this series so far, and he's looking to go back-to-back for strength of field victories. No telling how far he will go. He's got the lead right now, but Kenny Brady's one tough competitor. No telling on his end either. We might see a dogfight for lead all race long. These two dead even. They're going to be fighting until the checkered flag falls.
So many questions when it comes to Euroshak, especially since from mid-October to now, he picked up more than 3,000 iRating. One of the rising stars on the eNASCAR side. We're underway once more, 20 laps to go. 2 and 3 wide as to be expected. How about blocking? Oh my goodness! Nelson, Carpenter, Sylvia, what are they doing?
And the aggression is already back to its highs of before. That was really risky. Can't believe they made that one work out. They're 3 wide even still. We've got drivers going all throughout. It looks like the number 84 machine involved with an incident before is back on the way. They're all trucking it down once again. Double foul for the most part, and even now for the lead. Euroshak's got himself the advantage down to the inside line, but Kenny Brady powers through with momentum and now takes the lead, clear by a truck.
Kenny Brady to the point for the first time today. Euroshak back to second. Snyder, series points later, still in the 3rd spot. So all these drivers currently looking to get the track position, the clean air quick. More trouble in the back of the grouping. Already Adam Wright having to come down for a black flag. More tempers flipping to the radio from the Carpenter group. That's 3 wide, Evans and Chaburko. You see in the backdrop.
And they're getting real close to one another. I saw them trading paint or trading vinyl, what have you there. The 3 wide even further back. every driver taking a stab at a position or two. Looks like that was in between drivers such as Lincoln Bond in about 18th place. Unbelievable. We're watching the Javelin machine go side by side right now. They're real close. It looks like it's going to be a dive down to the inside for the 17. Stop! Now the Javelin machine goes way high and saves it unbelievably.
Carpenter having to fight hard just to avoid massive trouble at the rate things have gone. There goes Sylvia again in the Patriot Media Marketing Services truck. All about Chaburko nearly clearing himself across Abbey. Everyone's racing like it's a two-lap sprint. We still have 15 to go, plus.
Unbelievable. I can't put it into words. It is like pickup cup. This is not like top split C-Fix. I think I stepped over you there because of how fantastic this has been. The mid-pack giving us a show. Kenny Brady beginning to run away. Going around. This one looks for certain. Big trouble. That's going to be a second yellow flag.
Caution is out. Chaburko with the contact. Hard slam to the wall. Miss Savage. Tower Merritt, one of the other Maconi setup shop back trucks in the wall. And, well, sometimes high aggression leads to high impacts to the wall.
And that is a huge hit, and the aggression, it's going to take its toll. It takes multiple drivers out. We're looking at one as I believe it's going to be Joey Misevich involved, and we'll try to get the Maconi Setup Shop instant replay here on Maconi Entertainment. Drivers limping away from the scene. John Ellis taking a hard hit. As we take a look back right now, Justin, I don't know about this one. It's many drivers, many cases.
Chaburko to the back end of Abbey, and then everybody nowhere to go. Again, what can you say? Bottom of the racetrack, Chaburko in that case, Abbey in the second line. I don't know what else I can really say based on that viewpoint.
Just happens to be more and more aggression. It's a huge hit. And just like that, we've got ourselves another stop on the circuit. Yellow flag back out. Kenny Brady able to get the lead. And now we've got ourselves a big fight up front in a different sense. Maybe we'll see some strategy after another stop. 9 laps in, almost halfway through. Maybe tires might come into the equation. As you can see, another huge hit. Back end gonna back into the wall, and that's what causes multiple drivers to go around.
A lot of the fun paint schemes, or should I say to the drivers, some fun paint scheme looks involved in those incidents. But now, we continue to pace around here, already quickly approaching halfway in this race. Here for tonight's action, brought to you by Maconi Setup Shop and Maconi Entertainment. For more information, go to www.maconisetupshop.com. The home to setups, paint schemes, coaching, broadcasting, event promotion, and more on the iRacing service with subscriptions as low as $8. They are the official setup shop of eNASCAR and the official sponsor of NASCAR Class C Fix Series this year. Pit stop party time. We haven't returned too many green flag laps. Bigger story. Snyder, the only driver in the top 10 not to pit. Chaburko, Sylvia, and Joyner joining them.
And just like that, we're going to see some Goodyear rubber applied to these drivers. This could be the money stop already. Race off pit roll. We'll be keeping a close eye on it. It looks like Kenny Brady going to be right behind. And Kenny Brady misses his stall. Big issue for the number machine. That's number 1 machine. And he's going to fall off the number 1 spot. Oh my, huge hit there in terms of track position. If Connor Euroshak gets a flawless stop, looks like Euroshak comes out second. Multiple drivers beat Kenny Brady out, and just like that, we've got ourselves a shuffle in the front of the running order.
Not how Kenny Brady may have wanted to draw that up. That has cost Kenny Brady at least 4 or 5 spots in pit lane. Brandon Evans, one of the drivers for Lockdown Racing, electing to take 2 tires during that pit stop sequence. Now keep in mind that is a team Maconi Setup Shop just so happens to be partnered with, but he's amongst one of the new drivers for Lockdown Racing, a team that in the past has seen eNASCAR drivers such as Joey Mullis and Zach Novak in particular, prior to the season shuffles, be under that banner.
And who's to say he won't follow in those footsteps? This is a gutsy call, that's for certain, but maybe it's the call that will work out the best as we take a look not only in the virtual realm, but in the real world. This is Brandon Evans' camera showing all the action from his simulator. He's got the wheel, he's got the rig, he's all set up to keep the racing going, and he's now in a very good position, sitting pretty right behind the drivers who did not go down to pit road. This gutsy call might be the way to go to the checkered flag as a winner. Maybe that's the case, maybe it's not. We'll find out at the end of one more set of about a dozen laps of racing. We should be going green at lap 12. Looks like one driver going into pit road this time by. That's Tyler Merritt, who's currently scored in 22nd. No major impact on the racing up in front. Jacob Schneider's got himself the race lead, not too far behind. Right beside, it's the Post Malone machine of Brandon Shaburko.
So, Schneider, who has been up at the front most of this race so far, staying out. Chaburko, who is a part of the trigger for the caution flag. Jake Sylvia, who started at the back, and Ryan Joyner, who is in the first caution of this race and had to fix the truck for 54 seconds already. That top four. Evans on 2 tires for track position in 5th. Euroshack, the first of those on 4. Canup, Weaver, Brady, Andrew, also on 4. How is this going to play out? Because this has the potential to be wild.
I'm sure it's going to be action-packed. It's been action-packed so far. The first half of this race has not gone without its incidents. But for a driver like Jacob Schneider, he wants to avoid them. He is in the thick of this points race, and he knows 100% this could be the opportunity to step out and maybe make a gain up in front of the guys like Ryan Andrew, Euroshack. The big contenders are behind him for now. Maybe he's going to be able to keep him behind. That's, of course, the end goal as we're looking on board with Euroshack and our Maconi setup shop picture-in-picture. 2 beautiful angles here. The trucks are still rocking and rolling. 1 driver, 1 lap down. Lincoln Bond. Rest of your guys are still competing for that checker.
Bond with mandatory repairs, hence that situation. All set to go for the restart. Coming up to lap 12, just about halfway through this race. Snyder in control for the restart box. Green flag is up. Chaburko with a slow start and everyone rubbing paint. Already contact for Sylvia to the back end. Here comes Euroshack on the picture-in-picture, looking to make a third line work.
And the drivers up front making it risky. That's a huge block down to the inside line, just off of frame. And now they're 3 wide with Ryan Andrew. The front fielders are getting dicey. Peyton Howell going to be top side of a 3 wide equation himself. Now it looks like one other drops low. That's going to be the Victoria's Secret machine, taking it 3 nice and easy. It's Alex Weaver now being sent right into the middle of it, as they are going to be 3 wide all the places except for the front. One driver bobbles up high, and the tunnel turn is getting real tricky itself.
Sylvia absolutely shuffled back. Amonsto's making contact. There was Howell. There's the caution. There they stack up. More slam into the back. Stange in the grass. Abbey, a second incident involved. Misevich. Jared Nelson slamming John Ellis Jr. into the wall, trying to turn it around.
And it is, I believe, the most amount of yellow flags we've seen in any of these C-Fix Strength of Field races. Another yellow flag. Looks like Chris Strange caught up. I think I saw a piece of Misevich there. The yellow flag came out, but maybe it came out too early. They kept wrecking after it fell, and it looks like, honestly, it just got slower and slower, and that's what caused the wreck. Huge hit for multiple drivers as we go through our Maconi setup shop instant replay. Riding aboard this time by with Jared Nelson in the middle of an almost 4 wide equation, hits the 72 and gets taken all the way up to the top side. That's nasty, and it takes out quite a few good drivers.
The Nelson on top of it, accidentally hits the secondary driver. But you can see it coming. Even if this wasn't the cause, they were 5 wide in the next lane in front, and somehow that didn't cause the caution.
These drivers are going for the all-take mentality here. Unbelievable the way they've been racing. I think we're seeing the real effects of it at this rate. The drivers up front, they're not all too upset about keeping the lead. Not a big chance to race for. Brennan Shaburko gets a better jump, and just like that, Now we've got a new race leader in that number 17.
So Chaburko indeed now in control. Snyder shuffled to second, but Euroshack already in third. Just about everybody who did not take tires or took 2 tires from that previous restart drop-kicked outside the top 5 already. Not going to be easy even to hold on, because here's the major thing. It's a small difference on green flag laps, but at a track like this, with it being 2.5 miles, that is a massive difference.
It seems like strategy just keeps getting wrenches thrown right into it. At one point, we thought the winning strategy would be staying out. Then it would be going in. And now as we see more drivers coming into the back half of the field, they're trying a whole new thing. Just looks like there's no way to predict what's going to work out the best here, as even more wrecks have happened, even more aggression has been seen. No backing down. These drivers are taking all they can.
That's kind of the case when it comes to Pocono. It's worth noting in terms of some of the discussions coming in. Amongst those who have done really well, that are amongst those just outside the top 20, Brady entered the night 21st in points, Euroshack. Here's the major line when it comes to 2. 3 weeks counted so far. That's not too bad. It's early in the season. 8 rounds count for the championship. For Euroshack, he's already 22nd in those 3 weeks because of how strong he's performed in these S.O.F. races. 16 starts, 7 wins. Amongst those who are really picking up wins this season in this C-Fix, by the way, Logan Banfield, Division 1, 28 of 52 wins to starts.
And that is consistency. Victories all these guys are chasing. And in terms of iRacing, unlike real racing series, you can go at it as many times as you want with the same rules and regulations and always have a chance to come out with that checkered flag. No matter how much you can try, you'll find another way to get into victory lane or maybe find your way out of it. It has been all about aggression all night long so far. Maybe we'll see a bit more of it as we come down one more lap of pacing, and we'll be back reading the lap 16 mark. We have seen most of this race fly by. Now, what's it going to take to get to that checkered flag a winner? We will see.
If you're talking about consistency in terms of your numbers wins to start, by the way, to answer those who may say that question, you can throw Eugenie Mazgundov in terms of that consistency. In terms of the percentage, one of the drivers from Central Eastern Europe who runs C-Fixed, 19 of 26 in turn, Division 1 competitor. Keep an eye on how drivers fare out in the midfield here. Peyton Howell, amongst those we've seen strong runs of, did not do the best in qualifying, and it's been a tough time for him to make it through the pack. On the bright side, it's a driver he has some familiarity with up the road from 8th spot in Kenny Brady. We'll see if they work together a bit here.
And now we've got that picture-in-picture looking at the onboards. Every driver, no matter if you're in the front as we're watching on board, in the middle of the pack with Peyton Howell, or if you are in the back, it's going to get wild. And Pocono Raceway, that front stretch, it can go 6, 7 trucks wide. We've seen 5 already. Are we going to break our own record here? That remains to be seen. They'll be coming into turn 3 this time by, and that's gonna give them the go. The drivers getting ready to put on a show once more, and right now the front 2, I'm pretty sure they just want to see one more yellow and then they'll compete in a green-white checkered. Could happen. Maybe that's the way it goes, or maybe we get the unexpected green run from this point onward.
Coming up to 10 laps to go here at Pocono. Maconi set up shop, C-Fix Series action, the S.O.F. race from Pocono at S.O.F. of 4,628. Brandon Chaburko looking for his first S.O.F. win of the season. Takes it to the green, and they're already stacking to the inside line. Snyder leads them to the stripe. Howell in the picture-in-picture, already taking it 3-4 wide with a touring from Evans.
And it's a huge block from Connor Euroshak to stay in this race. They're going 3 almost for the race lead. Huge jump, and we've got ourselves a brand new leader. Say hello up in front. That's going to be Jacob Schneider, keeping himself in good company with these guys up ahead. Ryan Andrew now pushing to the back bumper here. He is not going to give anyone an easy time. Top 5, 6 guys are stuffed in double file, but don't make a mistake and think they're going to get any easier on each other. I'm sure we're going to see even more aggression as they come through turn 2 that time by. Nobody 3 wide just yet, but they are all over as the back bumpers are getting real scuffed in. Watching on board Peyton Howell, bottom right of your screen. He's trying to make moves in his own right. Now he finds himself just outside the top 10, coming up on the big pack here, and it's only 2 drivers able to break away as we come down to the line once again. Howell side by side, big hit, Ryan Andrew on the wall.
There goes looking up as well with the Tricon garage paint scheme. No caution despite the debris. We stay green. Andrew significant damage. The top 2 with that contact have now broken away. How about the switch around? Ryan Joyner is in second after being in the first caution of the race.
How about that no yellow flag call, but Ryan Andrew takes a nasty hit down to the inside, and that's going to all but end his chances to make victory out of this one. He's now going to be falling way back in the field. And now, disaster for the number 88 machine as John Ellis Jr. just catches up to him right now, looking still with your guys up in front. They are door banging back and forth all over again. It's now looking to be Brandon Shaburko side by side, this time with the driver of that number 7, Maximilian Bianco. Now it looks like Bianco's got a shot for the podium that we did not expect at all.
Bianco amongst those, probably gain 17 spots so far. Looking on board, this is Brady though with a major run amongst those on the fresh tires. Same for Bianco, but he is coming. And now he's clearing himself across Shaburko with a major save.
And that's a huge wiggle that time by. Unbelievable save, and it's going to be able to work out quite well. Looks like Kenny Brady keeps that position and keeps it going down the back. Now he's still got himself a shot to keep in the top 5. Unbelievable work there. And it ain't over for the man in that number 1 machine as he comes through this time by. Back on the warpath as we come down to the final few laps in this race.
Caution flag is out though, down the middle of the straightaway. Ryan Andrew is already told, but several slow down because Christopher Stange has gone around again. Stange had been running in the mid-pack and had been battling with Jake Sylvia for 13th at the top of the caution.
And just like that, another yellow flag. Looked for a moment, we get a run, and now we have another stop on the circuit. Let's take a more in-depth look at the situation here. Looks like it's going to be a hit with Christopher Strange involved. And just like that, we've got problems all over again.
Yeah, just see right there, got loose. Trying to get up to the top. Unfortunately, a driver's already there. And in turn, it brings out a late race yellow for one of the older drivers in the field. Keep in mind, he is a driver that is well known. His grandfather, Vic Kangas, who was the crew chief for drivers like Joe Nemechek, Ron Bouchard, for example, in the field, going around once more.
And that's a hard hit, and it's going to make it that much harder to stay up in front. Just like that, big issue there as we see the rest of the field bunch up once again. We find ourselves a total of 19 laps in, going on lap 20 now, and the race is far from over in one sense, but we're nearing that 25th lap in another dash to the finish. I think we're going to see one.
I wouldn't be surprised to see pit stops, though, too, with how late in the stage of this race it is. We've seen how beneficial it was even on the 4-lap difference. And everyone has one tire set available if they so choose in this case. So what does the Midland, Michigan hometown driver do here? That's going to be the major question mark.
I think at this point, you've just got to go with your gut, go with that instinct if you want a chance to make this a winning race. Nothing seems to be for certain at this rate, and I'm not quite sure if that's going to change, or at that rate, if it's going to stay the same. It's all about what you feel as a driver right now. Nothing is a certainty, and as we come down this time by, it's going to be all about managing what little you know. These front runners, they've been more consistent. They have been cleaner. But if anyone else comes into the picture, we could see a disastrous wreck up in front, the likes of which we have not seen all race long. And these drivers are getting set to go again. What's up?
No choice from any of them to pit. That is interesting. Kendall Carpenter, Joey Misevich, and several more 12 on back pitting for rubber. That was our longest green flag run of the race, though. You have to think they're banking on the caution.
And I have to agree with you there. I mean, so little time. Maybe they don't want to waste that track position. Drivers are down to pit road once again, namely drivers such as Tyler Merrill. We do see Joey Misevich back there, Shane Abbey, Ryan Andrew. They are drivers there, but at the same time, front runners, they know at this rate you just can't risk what you have. And it looks like right now we're going to have an interview as we go through the yellow flag once again. Justin, who we got coming with us?
Well, one of the drivers who just took that call, second on that strategy, Joey Misevich. One of the drivers runs over the Maconi banner. Joey now joining us at the broadcast booth. Joey, talk us through that decision. You are second on the tire strat.
Yeah, so I was gonna not pit, hoping that we'd just keep doing what we've been doing and hit each other instead of race, and then I'd be up front when the last two yellows fly. But nobody else pit in front of me, so I figure, well, if I'm not going to be in front of them all, I may as well have tires, and we'll see what that does for me.
Well, over the years at Pocono, we've seen how crazily wild these restarts can be because of that exact reason. Can count the amount of times on a single hand I remember a run this late going green. So how do you plan to slice through the chaos that you're about to see unfold in front of you?
Well, I was caught up in the first two wrecks, so I don't have much to lose at this point. I was shocked I was 13th when I came in. So I'm going to go where they aren't and try to come out on top with all four wheels on the ground.
Why don't you get ready for the restart, coming to one to go. Good luck.
Thank you.
Joey Misevich, 64 paint scheme, number 12 in iRating here today. Thankful to have the time to be able to speak with us here in this one. He starts 14th, second in terms of those who just pit. But the focus for now is with 3 laps to go. Joyner, Snyder amongst your top two. Snyder in control. Euroshack, fresher tires, but couldn't get herself around those two in front. Bianco, a stellar race, up in 4th. Then it's Brady, and Chaburko, who has not taken tires either, is still in 6th.
And just like that, we got drivers on a new strategy, drivers sticking with the old, and some guys who just want to make it out with a clean truck at the end of the day. Leaders up ahead like Schneider, they've been here all throughout, and look who's coming back now. Connor Euroshack is in 3rd, and on the back bumper of your leader once again. 3 laps, no telling what he'll do to go back-to-back in strength of field. There is a chance he'll do it again.
Here's a picture-in-picture brought to you by Maconi Entertainment. This is Jared Nelson. And the reason he's the picture-in-picture, he was technically down the pit lane, but elected not to stop in the stall. So guess what? He's the first layer of defense with Ross Phillips for everybody who just took rubber. This could get very wild and very Pocono-y. Getting set for the restart. Snyder, so far, has led much of the day. Can he hold on? Can Euroshack find himself to the point, or will anybody else make the charge, especially, say, Joyner, who was involved in yellow number 1 and was dead last at one point. Snyder, great restart. We're back on the way and already 3 wide.
They're pushing through up in front once again. Huge start for Jacob Schneider that time by, but they are going to be three with Kenny Brady just sticking three wide there, right in front of Peyton Howell. Howell takes a three that time by, and now we've got drivers trying to cut in on the inside line and take what they want and what they need, as there's a big ball over Kenny Brady that time by. Euroshack now going to have to settle for the outside as a hard-charging Ryan Joyner joins the inside force right down low.
Euroshack not backing off too easily from the outside. Joyner nearly slides in a crash from fourth. It's Kenny Brady. Brady slammed into by Misevich. Caution is out as Andrew Lutz Jr. joins in as well.
And it's a nasty hit there for Kenny Brady. Destroys any hope of a victory. We're going to overtime as we take a look on back. It looks like he went off the quarter panel of himself, of course, while being tapped by Brandon Chaburko. Chaburko, as we take a Maconi setup shop instant replay. Take a look at this. Gets tapped and gets right around.
For anybody who knows Chaburko's driving style over the years, he does not take any prisoners. And in that case, what can you say? Brady might have expected the lift. He didn't get the lift.
And a huge hit there, and that's going to make it that much worse for drivers like Kenny Brady and make it that much more intense for a driver like Jacob Schneider. Schneider up ahead in the safe light machine leads the way. It's going to be the number 5 on your frame, but the number 14 in terms of number Ryan Joyner second. A nasty hit there for Kenny Brady involved with Chaburko. Hit Misevich, and Joey Misevich, no luck to be involved with yet another wreck. It's a heartbreaker for him. The strategy seemed to be playing out well, but now he'll fall back even further.
By the way, Brady taking responsibility for that incident already over the radio, so he has acknowledged that he tried to clear by Chaburko and came across the nose. So, green-white checker situation. So as simply as this, if we take the white flag, race is official to the checkered. If we get another crash before the white flag's taken, the field finishes under yellow. And now that's where the intensity level especially expects to pick up from here. Because, well, you never know what's going to happen if you get the one or the two laps.
It's a great point. And I didn't think about that. We could see multiple attempts. Now, in this series so far, we have not had to use more than one green-white checkered attempt in any race so far, I believe.
Well, there is only one attempt at C-Fixed for this exact reason. Imagine 5 in C-Fixed. Imagine the adventures we'd get. But in all seriousness, only one in this series, but puts a lot more pressure on and anger towards those who bring out that caution, if we get one.
That caution will end the race if we get it during this overtime finish. Everything from this point onward is official. iRacing uses scoring loops to detect who is the leader at the end of any given segment on the circuit. No matter where the caution comes out, we'll be able to find out who gets the victory. Based on the segment, iRacing will effectively determine the leader if it's especially close using their timing and scoring system. Now, if we get a white flag, it's different. We know that it's official. Checkers or wreckers, we might just see both. But it could be determined before that final lap comes out. That's what these drivers want to avoid. You want to see the race go all the way from this point onward, and I know the leaders, say Euroshack, say Chaburko, say Peyton Howell, say Maximilian Bianco. These drivers want a chance to go all the way. There's still an opportunity to do so in regards to time right now, but it all comes down to the mercy of those behind them. Whether or not they will be so merciful, it all depends on who takes that extra step, that extra 3 wide, 4 wide, that extra contact, what have you. That may determine the race not only in the back of the field, but in the front as we come down to one final run here in Long Pond.
So, we'll see how this goes here. Stanton Evans electing to take repairs because of what's happened under the cautions. But now, with the 1-to-go signal taken, it's down to how they played things out for 5 miles. Snyder and Joyner, row 1. Euroshack and Chaburko, row 2. Bianco and Howell is row 3. Weaver and Pumpkin is row 4. Nelson and Phillips, row 5. Your biggest mover is still Chaburko, who has not qualified once in these S.O.F races so far this season. Second biggest mover, Ross Phillips, who, intriguingly enough, remember Ross Phillips hit the pit wall before we even got going and has a chance at a top 10 still.
That's interesting to note. He's been able to make it up. I'll give him this much. That contact, maybe he was able to work it away through several pit stops. At this rate, more power to him. He's up in the single digits now, and with the aggression that we've seen all race long, there's a chance for him to pick off even more positions and make his way to the front of this field. It's all about these final 2 laps. We'll see if race ends no matter what at the lap number 28 mark. Everything before then is just a preview until that final stretch. We might just see a drag race there. We might just see everyone come apart before the final stretch. We might even see the race end just a bit early. But right now for Jacob Schneider, there's no bigger job for him than the job of defending that truck. No matter how he does it, he could end up initiating a yellow flag. That would save him. He could end up involved in one. That could ruin everything. Now, as we come around this time by, the final few laps are just ahead of us. Whether or not we make it 28 laps of racing remains to be seen. Pace car is going to drop in, and the racing will come back one more time.
Green flag is out. Chaburko jumps the start and hooks Joyner. No caution, there it is. They stack up big in the mid-pack. And wow. All you can say, that was a turn. That was definitely a 3-wide turn.
And that will effectively end the race. Unbelievable. Checkered flag, checkered and yellows, expected soon. We've got a winner, we've got an order, but we don't know everything about that one. I'll tell you this much, 3 wide from Chaburko. Take a look on the Maconi Entertainment Instant Replay. This is off the perspective of Ryan Joyner. Joyner makes a late block. Chaburko sent it 3, and that's chaos immediately.
You could argue that was before the start and finish line. And at that point, what can you say? Technically, in terms of the terms of service, you can do that. In terms of the unwritten code, you don't expect it.
And that's an upsetting way to end this one, that's for certain. And we're looking around to all the drivers here, seeing what's going on as they bunch up under yellow. Ryan Joyner's machine is absolutely junked. Brandon Chaburko maintains most of his position. He will not face the brunt of the load in terms of finishing placement, but certainly not a lot of drivers going to be happy with that maneuver. Jacob Schneider all but locked into a victory now. Looks like Euroshack's got himself a podium shot, and Peyton Howell able to claw back up from 10th on the grid up to 3rd. Back in the lead, live feed right now. The white flag is out. It's already yellow flag. And at this point, official scoring saying Jacob Schneider's got himself the victory as he comes around the final turns.
A lot of possible unhappy drivers, to say the very least. That is saying the least. But Jacob Schneider comes down the start and finish. Connor Euroshack given a little bit of a celebratory bump as Schneider picks up the S.O.F victory here tonight under yellow. Euroshack and Howell, the top 3. Chaburko ended up crossing the stripe in P4. Appears there.
And that's the worst way we can end one of these races, but for Jacob Schneider, hell of a race on his part. Undeniably one of the best all throughout. It's a shame we never saw it end under green, but Schneider did everything he had to do to get that checkered flag. You gotta hand it to a driver who knows what to do in these situations. Nothing in terms of him at fault. He made it happen on his own accord, and that's what you gotta do as a racing driver, no matter how it all ends up. First time we've ended strength of field under yellow this season, and it comes at the tricky triangle. How about this one?
Schneider taking his time here, making sure there's no DQs. Already every other driver's crossed the stripe. It's mainly because of the pace car situation. We've seen this in the past with burnout. As he works around, let's take a look at how the results have finalized in sim. Again, official in terms of the context of iRacing. Snyder already pulling off. Snyder picks up the victory under yellow over Eurojack and Howell. Chaburko ends up bringing out the final caution after trying to jump the start and charging to the right side of the track, and causes the big one. Bianco, Weaver, Nelson, Carpenter, and Sylvia top 9. Lutz Jr. in 10th. Ellis Jr. up in 11th. Puckett in 12th. Brian Joyner from 2nd to 13th because of the issue. Stange in 14th. Merritt, Evans, Abbey, and Misevich, with Brady and Phillips also finishing. Your DNFs include Andrew, Canup, Wright, and Bond. We'll take a quick break. Post-race coverage coming up right after the break. We'll discuss things with some of the drivers and more here on Maconi Entertainment.
When you want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. For anything on iRacing, there's just one name you need, Maconi.
With the launch of Maconi Entertainment and Maconi Competizone alongside Maconi Setup Shop, we now provide the best of the best in setups, paint schemes, coaching, broadcasting, and event organization.
With cars across all 4 license classes, we have what you need to hit the track with confidence. Grab a subscription and save money while going fast at MaconiSetupShop.com/subscriptions.
And remember, at Maconi Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
Welcome back to Maconi Entertainment for more coverage of tonight's action here from Pocono. Finishing under yellow during the green-white checkered situation. In the end, though, it's Snyder who picks up the victory. Snyder currently going shopping after the victory, because why not celebrate with a shopping trip? Let's take the chance, meanwhile, why don't we, with Peyton Howell. And Peyton, gonna ask it quite simply, thoughts on what happened in the race? And guess not. That was a very quick move ahead. Your thoughts, David?
Well, at that rate, not quite sure we're going to get at this one. It's a huge, huge hit to, of course, end this race. Yellow flag already called. Looks like winner has to do shopping. And from there on out, not quite sure what else to add to this one. Peyton Howell just had to try to get a word with him there. And just like that, checkered flag's fallen. We're trying to get a word from, I believe, Connor Euroshak, who's also up there. Top 3. I'm sure they got different perspectives on this one.
I'm curious, what's your perspective? Because you call a lot of different series and a lot of different races. What, in terms of your context of what you've seen in the broadcast, what's your thought on that?
Well, I mean, for someone who's seen a lot of green-white checkers go horribly wrong, they don't often go at this very early point where there's such a problem so quick. And that's a product of aggressive racing, a product of a lot of drivers knowing they have the speed to make wins out of their own skill, out of their own ability. And when it happens, sometimes it tends to clash. That's what we saw there. Those are 2 drivers with a lot of ability, a lot of skill on this sim. Nevertheless, it looks like we're trying again with Peyton Howell in just a moment. We'll get him in right here for Justin to talk to. Simply a lot of skill clashing in the wrong way. Justin, we got Peyton right with you.
Well, Peyton, what's your take on what happened there to end off this race? You were alongside that at the top of the caution.
Yeah. First of all, I'd like to thank Martin Sports for all they do for me on here and the new Platinum Performance. It's the rebrand of Tranquility, but also everybody, you can go to martinsports906.com for all your apparel needs, shirts, hats, hoodies, whatever you need, gloves. But that restart right there, I don't know what happened. All I seen was that Joyner was in the fence, and I scammed a P3 out of that after a horrible race by me.
Yeah, it seemed like I heard some of the discussion was almost towards bumper cars, more so than the battling. What was that perspective like with tonight, especially since looking towards the event result page, just out of curiosity, 16 caution laps out of 28 ran.
Yeah, that was bad. I just think that the races are so short. I think it needs to be like 30, 35 laps for them to at least go green. You don't have enough time to do anything, and you just got to force everything with only 25 laps. But yeah, that was not a fun race. The setup is a plow box this week, so I think that makes it even worse off of 2 and 4 or 2 and 3. Sorry.
Well, what would you say are positives about tonight?
I think the positive is P3 because it keeps us in the championship hunt. I can't have a bad race, you know. I already had 3 drop weeks. I can only afford 1 more, so yeah, I think the positive coming out of this is me scamming a P3 there at the end.
Well, congratulations on the podium, Peyton.
Yep. Thank you. That was a race. I'll tell you, I don't know what to call that.
Peyton Howell. Well, he said a lot in terms of how that played out in terms of some of the driver thoughts. And one of the best ways you can phrase it there. But still, when it comes to this series, next time out for the drivers, they head off to Richmond for a summertime date to see how they play out short track racing wise. 55 laps on the docket when we go racing there in 1 week's time. Catch that 8:15 p.m. Eastern Time here on Maconi Entertainment. But on that note, it's time to say goodbye. I'd like to thank our race sponsor, Maconi Setup Shop, as well as our broadcast partner, Maconi Competizione. Calling the action today was myself, Justin Prince, alongside David Kreutz in the booth with Eddie Smith producing. Thanks to our viewers for watching tonight's racing action. We hope you stay tuned for all our social media pages as well for the next action. Thanks to the entire staff for their work in bringing this racing to you. This has been a production of Maconi Entertainment. Congratulations to Jacob Snyder, your winner here tonight from Pocono. We'll see you next time.